Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to our podcast. It's Off Point at 30, and we are Les Steed and
Marlon White.
And this is a show where we talk about, we've just hit 30, and we talk about things that we found in life as we grew up, or didn't grow up, according to some people. My girlfriend, Jesus Christ. Okay, so hey, she loves me, she has to. Okay, but today what we thought we'd do something a bit different, because normally we have like a big topic and then we kind of go off point. But we thought, because to be honest with you, cutting all of that through and the idea of having an hour and a half to listen through can be a bit unappealing sometimes. We try and make something
The nightmare in editing.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Marlon has to spend days and days, and I just can't be asked. But like, I'm a talking head. God help me. But yeah, like some of us have jobs that work nights and days now. Apparently, Marlon. Okay, so yeah. But today's idea is I got drunk the other day and started writing things that worry me, and so we're just going to not come out and debate about them. So, do you want to start with the first one?
No,
tough shit. Okay, so first thing that was like bothering me, like when bothering what I call drunklers, was firstly how much my dog respects me, because I've realised that owning a dog sucks, because like, okay, firstly they're adorable, lovely, but I've realised that you spend like owning a dog is basically like saying I want to spend at least 20 minutes of my day looking for a green ball that's all muddy in a muddy green field with an animal looking at me, waiting for me, and then nagging me about the thing that it lost.
I find the whole owning a dog weird, like where people treat dogs like better than how they would treat a human being, and I find that really weird. I'm not, as you can tell, I hate dogs. I don't like dogs. Don't like really animals.
You're gonna lose half of our people. Like, stop saying it now.
Yeah, I don't really like dogs, so I don't understand the whole cleaning up after them. The whole I understand. Don't get me wrong. I've had dogs. Like I lived out in Jamaica for about 2 years, and I've had dogs. And I've loved dogs, but I mean, for me, they serve a purpose more. Like you keep them outside. They
keep them outside.
Keep them outside. They guard your land. But like, I'm not really into.
Mine's a Welsh collie. It's not going to like guard anything. It's going to guard like, I don't know. I mean, it's got a thing against foxes, and it just will at 4 a.m. definitely tell everyone there's a fox.
Yeah, I'm not going to be hugged up with a dog.
No, I find that a bit weird actually. I think that there is sort of this line of like sort of where loving your pet is loving your pet, and then it's when they get into bed with you and you start, and like people who kiss dogs are weird. I don't get
on
it.
the mouth.
I mean, I'm not into kink shaming or anything like that, but
I think there needs to be a line between pet and like.
And child.
Like, it's pet and child. You should probably have a kid, maybe.
Yeah, I think like if you've got a pet that's sort of like, because I mean I've got a cat and a dog. And, like, don't get me wrong, like it's kind of cute when the cat comes along and like cuddles up. And this morning I had my head in this pillow like that, and I was just like peeking through, and his little cat face comes through like hello, and I was like, oh, you're adorable, but it's also 4 a.m, so fuck off. So what the thing was that I was worried about was respect, is how much my dog respects me, because I was on a walk the other day.
Why do you care if your dog respects you?
Well, because otherwise they don't do what you say, but then do you have to be too strict on them or not? And it's like a parenting worry, which is really weird. Is like, you want your dog to sort of do as it's told occasionally, but at the same time, I don't want to stifle its creativity. I don't want this dog to feel like.
I think if you do have a pet, it definitely needs to do as it's told.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. But like not like sort of super strictly say that. I mean, like she's not allowed upstairs, for example.
You just need to say the word, and they're like sat down. That's how.
Yeah, but like, what if they're like done?
Get a new pet.
So just throw out any dog that doesn't meet the sort of intelligence quota. Yeah. You haven't thought this one through, have you? Much, I mean, like,
you can tell I'm not a dog person.
Yeah, because cats, they don't necessarily do as they're told unless they're hungry, in which case they will definitely follow you to their bowl because they're more or less manipulating you. Apparently, cats have actually evolved to have to sound like crying babies, which is fucked up when you think about it. Like, I mean, that's like evolutionary like manipulation. That's fucking weird. Like, when you consider it, I mean, what other animal has evolved to manipulate people?
That's interesting. I saw a test a few years ago between cats and dogs, and like I think dogs are like turned out to be the more loyal animal. Cats kind of go whoever they're feeding them. They don't really care.
I think
a dog is like they had a little test where like the owner of the dog kind of left the room, and the dog like they kind of distracted it with something like a ball. The dog's really into the ball, but afterwards like, where's my owner? Where? The cat's like moved on.
Yeah.
Moved on. Like, forgot about owner
again,
who.
like, the maintenance is so much less because like I know that I don't feel. I mean, I feel guilty if I leave the cat alone for like longer than 24 hours.
Yeah.
But like if I left a dog in the house for 24 hours, I'm going back to a heap of shit. I really am. That dog's going to tear my house apart. Like there's no way that's going well. I mean, like mine's a proper dog. Like it's a Welsh Collie. But also like I don't understand little teeny tiny dogs. Like, there's no point. Like, why don't you just buy a rabbit? Because rabbits don't yap.
They're rat dogs.
Yeah, like there's teeny tiny. I mean, the Chihuahuas actually they used to be really culturally relevant in South America and Central America, but they used to be used for like the most horrible things, like eating them. They use them as as a pillow. Like seriously. I mean, like these dogs are being
used. They were breeding
like,
dogs to use as pillows.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I don't know if that's 100% accurate, but my ex-girlfriend used to talk about, had like, she went and really researched it. She's researched the weirdest shit. And it was fascinating. But she told me that like these little Mexican Chihuahuas being used for like everything. Like if you were, and like even if you were sick, I think they killed a Chihuahua. I don't know. It's like a lot of, they didn't have an easy life.
If you're sick, they'll just go and kill a Chihuahua.
I don't know. Okay, I think that probably is going to come out like really super culturally ignorant. But like, I don't know if it's like that easy. But
it's got the code.
Yeah, it's like oh, I've got a code. Where's Tibbles? Like, no, like fucking dog's hiding again. No, okay, right. So next one. Right, so I'm obviously an extrovert. That's why I do the hands and stuff.
Yeah.
And you're a bit more introverted, you say.
That's why my arms are crossed.
Yeah, well, that
protecting myself.
Yeah, exactly. Look at you, like your closed body language.
My body's like, look,
like,
stay away from me.
Yeah. you gotta open your arms, man. Open your heart.
Yeah.
But here's the question: is how much crazy are introverts holding in? Because my ex-girlfriend was an introvert, and that did not go well. And I've realised that I've started dating introverts, and the pattern is that it goes great until I realise that I'm the only one talking, which isn't new to me, obviously.
So, speaking from an introvert's perspective, I wouldn't say I'm exactly crazy, but there is if you get on the wrong side of me, you'll see there is a lot of crazy to see.
Got a badass. Got a really scary badass.
Hey, don't do the list.
Sorry, no, that wasn't about you. Sorry, that wasn't meant. I'm sorry. It wasn't supposed to be a dig at you.
Yeah.
It's just fun to say the word badass. Okay, no. My voice with me. But yeah, it's so. But like, okay, because I mean, I've realised that I think that, and I'm not. We're generalising here, I know, but introverts will tend to bury things and hold on to it a lot longer instead of expelling it. And I don't know which.
I think that you're right. I like a lot of time when things bother me, I don't say it straight away. I kind of let it build up to the point that I'm going to explode, and then you're like, oh, where did that come from?
Yeah, the next time I know I've got a black eye, and I'm just like, I don't feel like I deserve that. Because it's like
that's the last straw.
It's like
I've been holding this back for 10 years.
I just kind of like leave a little bit of washing up liquid on the side, and you're like, boy, you're gonna die. Because I had that with one of my exes. So I don't mean to. We don't have to just always talk about I know that I do too much, but yeah, like they bottle it, like introverts bottle it up, and then you're sitting there being like, everything's going great in our little la la land of love, everything's wonderful, and oh my god, what the fuck happened here?
It's like my missus said to me one time, like, it's like, you need to tell me what's wrong, for example, like, because she'd be like, I don't want you one day you just randomly break up with me and I don't even know why, like,
it happens. It happens. It's really scary.
She she feels that I don't say what's always on my mind.
Yeah, you have to say.
Because like when I get annoyed, I don't talk. I just like go quiet and just don't say anything. Cause I don't know. I find like confrontation a bit weird, and I only try to have confrontation with people in extreme circumstances where like I'm gonna explode. Where I'm gonna definitely explode at you. Like there's no going back. But like just to have a little like disagreements, I don't really bother doing that.
But I mean, would you say that was because you're an introvert or because you're not confrontational type of person?
I think it's both, to be honest.
Oh, fair enough. I think it's maybe the part of the parcel.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like, because I used to be quite a lot more sort of closed up, especially if in situations where, for example, prolonged bullying or something like where you're not quite, you've got nothing necessarily, like when people chip away at you because they're trying to find out where your buttons are. And then all of a sudden you detonate over something small. Yeah. But the problem isn't the fact that, and it's very hard to express at the time, I think, is that it's not that the one thing. It's the intent behind it, or the way that it feels like the intent behind it is to hurt you or to get to you. But they don't give you like that little moment where you can legitimately snap. and I think that's where the painful manipulation is. But I do think that in situations like where people, have you ever been in a position where you've been frustrated and angered by somebody, but they haven't, and you haven't told them, and then there's a better way to word that. Like where you've surprised somebody by being suddenly very angry at them for something that's gone on.
That's small or like...
Yeah, or like when you've kind of snapped, but then they haven't understood, but then they realise that they've come across badly and they didn't mean... That's it.
Yeah.
That they didn't mean to upset you.
I can't really think of anything like that.
Yeah, weird. Because I definitely have done that to a few people. Like there was a few people at my old work, very sensitive people, in my opinion, and then I've accidentally pressed all their buttons. And the next thing I know is I'm being pulled in for a meeting that I didn't understand at all. Like, I was sitting there and they're like, yeah, well, there's been several complaints actually. I'm like, who the fuck? But everyone loves me. Yeah. No, they don't, you prick.
I've had people at work like that, just pushing everybody's buttons, saying I don't know, they just find it really hard to interact with people, and then they're just kind of pissing off everybody gradually, one by one.
But is that their fault, or is that sort of just who they are? And would you sort of approach that differently now?
That particular person, I think he went through quite a few things in his life, so it kind of altered his personality to the point that, it was very hard to get along with.
Oh,
yeah,
that's good.
And he caused problems with a lot of people.
Sure.
Yeah.
What kind of problems?
Just all his personality would just start trouble sort of thing. Like,
yeah. Like he's angry, like his internal anger gets kind of out.
Like he'd be like going at people for being late and stuff like that.
Oh,
he's not like a manager or anything. So it's sort of like,
oh right, that's weird. Yeah, we had one like
or
that. Or
just like like we all work with we all have colleagues and everything, and he's like the type of colleague that will grass you up for stuff or try to get you in trouble.
Yeah, that's like a manipulative. Yeah, that's like vicious
just kind of
intent.
And always talking about people and kind of always into people's business. That type of colleague.
I have this horrible thing where I kind of interrupt people's conversations, not because I'm trying to interrupt people or be anything. I just kind of want to be part of it. And I think that's kind of like been so misinterpreted over the years. I only really understood it recently, but it's so fucking annoying. Like, it's got to be so annoying for other people, but I'm just socially awkward to the point where I'm just trying to be loved. I'm like, let me talk to you. I want to talk too. I want to join in.
I can see that. I see that could be annoying. I could be in the middle of talking about my kids or not. Like, oh yeah, got a new my son born on the weekend, and then you just come interrupting about something random.
Well, guess who's about to become a godfather? You son of a bitch. Where is he? Hello, you.
I think what's worse is people that kind of don't let you have your moment in your own story. They kind of just having to one up you whenever you tell a story. There are people like that where, like I had a colleague at work where you say something happened, for example, say you got hit by a car. They're like, oh yeah, she was like, oh yeah, my brother also got hit by a car.
Oh god, you see that on YouTube a lot. Not YouTube, sorry, on Instagram, and not Instagram even, sorry, Facebook comments a lot.
Yeah.
Is that you'll see, for example, in my line of work, we see a lot of tragedies.
Yeah.
And there's always someone who says something completely erroneous to make it about them. Like, oh, that's the journey that my Ken goes down, and you're just like, no, gives a fuck about you.
Yeah.
Like, this guy just died.
Yeah.
Who the fuck are you?
Like, for example, Kobe Bryant just passed away. We go like, oh, I take helicopters all the time. Like, that could have been me. I got the same type of helicopter.
I've also, I'm also tall. Oh, great, good for you, son. Like, I've occasionally played basketball. Good, great. Well, I occasionally.
Yeah, I tried out for the Lakers.
Yeah.
This could have been me.
No doubt in my mind.
I was in the same tryout of Kobe.
Oh, could you imagine that? I mean, you know what's weird is that's someone's claim to fame.
Yeah.
That could you imagine though being that famous? Which brings us to the next question. At what point what point in growing into becoming a famous person do you think that you would acknowledge that you were famous?
What do you mean, like?
Okay, so for example, if I wrote, I'm trying to write a book.
Yeah.
And then if that book led to a screenplay, and that screenplay led to something else, and the next thing I know is I've got acting credits, yada yada yada. So like fame, like old school fame grows.
I think for me, like the first I would acknowledge being famous is like somebody random stopping me in the street and like, oh, you're Marlon from what film? So
from Off Point at 30.
Yeah, from Off Point, speaking to existence.
Yeah,
yeah. You're Marlon from whatever.
There's gonna be like 7 people here, and our mum's telling us off.
That would be like probably a first point, like that you start realizing, oh wow,
yeah, because I think
that's like a small level, but yeah, I think that's when you first start. Else it grows bigger and bigger.
Well, if you don't crash and burn, that is, or if you continue producing content, but then there's that pressure to continue producing things. I think that's quite interesting. Okay, next question is, we already do racism quite a lot, I think. What was the worst life-changing decision that you made without knowing it was a life-changing decision? For example, I would not have met my current girlfriend if she hadn't got on a flight at the same time as I happened to be perusing through Hinge. Like all those little meet cutes. Like I wouldn't, if I'd gone into a different bar the night that I met some other girl. It's not all about women and stuff, but yeah.
I do have an interesting take on decision. I actually don't think there's an actual decision we make.
Let's get deep.
I don't think we actually make decisions. I think we more react.
To
circumstances.
But I mean,
mostly beyond our control. I don't think.
Because you decide if you're going to go out.
Yeah.
You would arrange it. That's a decision that's been made in advance.
Yeah, but then
I'm going to go out.
But then there was like, why were you free? There's a bunch of stuff that led to you being free that night.
Because it was a Friday night.
Led to you having money to go out that night. There's a bunch of stuff that came together all in one to give you that decision of being free.
Seriously romanticizing.
So when you think about decision, I just think it's more reactionary, really, to be honest, because I think that before we were born, decision, our parents were reacting to stuff, putting us into circumstances that we had to react to.
Yeah.
For example, my mum, when I was young, got made redundant from BT, which now she got a bunch of money from it. So.
Oh, well, not so bad. Yeah, well, at least someone got made.
She took that money.
She chose then. Yeah.
Moved us to Jamaica.
Right.
I'm talking about how this influenced me. Now I don't know about her decisions.
Yeah.
I'm talking about me. So we moved to Jamaica for a while, for about 2 years, and then that meant I didn't end up going to the school next to my house. I ended up going to school down the road.
Oh.
Yeah. So
it's like a butterfly effect.
So when I came back to this country, I ended up going to the school down the road from my house. And then that led to me having problems in that school and moving to another school. Yeah. And end up having to go into a shithole secondary school.
They might know who you are.
Yeah. It all kind of led together. And the reason I went to that secondary school, because I bumped into my mate that also went to that primary school. That kind of filled that decision for me to go to that shit secondary school, which led to me pretty much leaving school with no qualifications.
Well, I mean,
and then having to
you also,
go to college and get those qualifications, leading me to go to university 2 years later to meeting you.
That's
randomly.
Weird.
So
and all because some guy 30, 40 years ago was sitting there with a piece of paper and just chose your mum's name as well instead of somebody else's.
So it's just all a reaction. It's just all like my life has just been non-stop reactions, really. So it's not like I didn't sit down and go,
so I'm going to make all these fate. Then again, though that does come back to a decision.
Yeah.
That was
there is basic decision that I'm going to put these shoes on, but I think a lot of big decisions you make in life is pretty much you didn't have the choice to do it. It's like everything was so leaning to one side. You only had like one choice, really.
Yeah, because I know that a lot of people probably would sort of describe that as fate or maybe God's will or something along those lines, which is more or less the same concept. But I think though that because do you find that lack of autonomy, that belief of a lack of autonomy, does that give you does that make you feel more or less liberated? Personally?
To be honest, I don't really think about it like that. It's just a theory I have, and I kind of leave it there. I still act like I'm making decisions. I don't go, I'm just gonna.
Well, you're gonna be married soon, so you don't have to make that many.
Yeah, so I'm not gonna. I don't just kind of float. I don't go around floating around in life thinking, I don't have no choice in anything. I kind of still act like I have choice, but I do have the theory that choice is kind of a myth.
I think it's a stressor because I think that in the positions I've been in the past where. I think one of the problems that they say that people who are quite intelligent, they get depression very easily, they get anxiety very easily, but of course it happens to everybody. But but people who are highly intelligent tend to have that much more.
Yeah,
I think that's a lot to do with having that urge to make a decision or seeing so many options and then choosing one or that kind of thing. But I found that in life, one of the things that I have that is very easy to sort of ignore particularly when you're stressed out, particularly when you're facing a major life change, is that actually you forget that to do nothing is also an option, and also not that you should always do nothing, but that the situations that I've ever been in, I really wish I'd just gone with what I felt like. So, for example, if I had, because I think you get that very strong feeling that this is kind of feels like the right thing to do, but then you listen to other people or you listen to your thoughts and things, and you end up going with a decision that may not necessarily have had as positive an outcome. For example, I wish that I had left my last job a bit sooner than I did, because it led to a lot more stress, and I knew that it was a sinking ship. And I've had multiple situations like that which I haven't really learned from, because each situation is marginally different. And therefore, but it feels the same. And I think that maybe listening to that feeling of this is the right thing to do, even if it's a weird thing to do. I mean, obviously, I'm not going to kill someone because I want to, because that would be, probably not the right thing to do. Although, I mean, 50% of murders they get away with it. I'm not advocating murder.
Is that actually the percentage?
I think that
I don't think that's the percentage.
There's quite a high percentage of people who get away with it, and also
in Britain,
well, anywhere really. It depends on technology, and I think that while police try their best, they're not omniscient.
No, they're not.
Credit. I mean, I know that I bashed them at the previous episode, and in that little draft, things got told off.
But I do think, like in 2020, I do think in 2020, Britain, it must be really hard to get away with committing a crime.
Oh hell no! All you got to be doing is wearing a hat. That's how the guys who stole my motorbike got away with it.
Yeah.
One of them was wearing a hat.
But how much resources do they put into a stolen motorbike instead of maybe more
zero.
murdered?
I mean, they got in the way of their own investigation.
To get murdered in the street, it depends how much resources.
Yeah, but
I think if they really want to solve a murder, for example, they can
not really.
They're like, okay, you got murdered on this street. Let's look at all the cameras in the neighborhoods.
Yeah, but then you got to prove 100%.
Yeah,
like my brother had his motorbike, not motorbike. He got his cycle bike stolen. The guy had a tattoo. They saw him on the camera. Yeah. They saw the tattoo on his arm.
But how much?
The guy said, "That's not my tattoo. You can't prove that it's the same."
But back to what I said. How much resources are they going to put into solving your bike?
It was again, like he'd already found the guy. He knew who it was. He'd found the.
But how much?
All the police had to do was.
How much effort are they going to put into that, as opposed to little Johnny getting murdered down the street?
If little Johnny got murdered, I mean, it depends again on who little Johnny is.
That's true as well.
Because I mean, if little Johnny's a wealthy Johnny, then he's probably going to be more worth the. It's going to be worth the time. More of it because there's going to be more press.
Yeah.
There's going to be more pressure on the police to solve that. But I also think that I mean, though that could be inaccurate because I think every murder is probably treated the same way. But I mean, there's a lot of factors, and I know this from criminology that lead to the perfect murder. So, for example, I know that if I murdered my wife, I'm less likely to get away with it than if I murdered a complete stranger. Yeah. Because there's no link to me and a stranger.
Yeah, exactly.
That can be discerned, but that's what the police will. It will instinctively go with. The first thing they're going to do is they're going to question everyone she knew. Yeah. Then they're going to question whoever's. Then they're going to go.
It's logical because you have to establish a motive.
Yeah, and if there is no motive,
if I walk down the street and just like murder somebody, but then also you have to like count in as well, like technology as well, like the phones, or like our phones giving away locations everywhere we go now.
Well,
records. If you like for example with iPhone, if you go into preferences, it has all your recent locations. It already knows my home address. I never put my home address in my phone. It already knows because I sleep here.
More time,
a lot here that this is my home address. It knows my work address. So like your phone is always giving you away. So like there's stuff like that. So I don't think it's possible for you to like on the spur.
Phone at home.
That's what I mean. On the spur of the moment, go down the street and kill somebody.
You can just leave your phone at home.
Yeah, but that's premeditated. I'm talking about on the spur of the moment, walking down the street.
Yeah, but I mean, again.
But obviously, if you're planning to go out and kill somebody,
but there's no reason why you couldn't be there as well.
Yeah,
and also what I found, actually, you know what? Going to that point, at what point? Okay, so another question. At what is like now with like the way that we're tracked on our phones and the data that's accumulated around it and all those, I think it's like 500 or 5,000 points of data is what Cambridge Analytica used to determine what decision and what we're going to do next. There's this really quite scary documentary about it. I can't remember what it was called though, but I watched about 20 minutes of it because I'm not patient. But point is that if I as an individual actor gathered that much information on somebody, I would probably be locked up as a stalker. And I want to know why it's acceptable for companies to unwittingly take all of that stuff and kind of hint at roughly what they're doing. For example, I wanted to unlock my internet so that I could watch adult material on my own phone. And they asked for my passport number and
Your
or
passport?
my passport or my driver's license number,
Fuck me.
so that they could verify that I was 18.
What network you on?
GIF.
Oh fuck.
And it was really creepy.
Really?
Yeah, it took me 2 days to say yes to it because we didn't have any Wi-Fi. And it was, I'd like to say 2 days. I mean 2 nights. But yeah, but my point is that it's scary because they've asked, and I think Zuckerberg once said, in order to get all of this data, all he actually did was ask for it.
Yeah.
And
well, if that box in any app or any website is like, do you agree? Nobody reads that box.
Yeah, but they hide it as well.
Yeah.
I mean, like for example, and I think there's some that are really super creepy about the way they do it. Amazon, for example, keeps trying to push me into going for Amazon Prime. There's no reason for me to do that.
Yeah, did I tell you what happened to me when I was at uni?
No, I haven't.
Because obviously that box is very easy to tick.
Yeah.
So I was like, I just looked at
I
my
had that
account.
as well.
I looked at my account. There's like 50 quid missing. I'm like, what's going on here? And then I got called at Amazon. I'm thinking it's fraud or something.
Yeah.
And I called up my bank first of all, thinking it's fraud, and then they're like, "Oh yeah, we get these calls all the time. You need to call Amazon and they refund your money."
But it's
and
such an
then I
effort
called at
because they
Amazon.
tricked
They're like,
you.
"Oh yeah, sorry, yeah, there you go. Here's your money back."
Yeah, they don't pay you any extra for the fact they've completely tricked you into doing something.
Yeah.
They get it all the time, like you
Yeah.
said. Like it happened to me as well.
Yeah.
Like it happened to me twice.
Happened to my mum as well.
It's
Like,
fucked up.
yeah.
And like when it's an old lady
Yeah.
who doesn't really keep an eye on, not just an old lady, but anyone who doesn't keep an eye on.
Like it's one of those situations where when you have money, you don't notice it. And then it's only when your money starts getting low, you're like, "Oh, let me check my account.
Yeah,
What's going
or
on?"
it gets to payday,
Yeah.
and you're like, wait, actually, hang about. Why why aren't these the ones and zeros added up?
Yeah.
Like it's fucked up, and it's like, but this is money, and I think all of these subscription services rely on the fact that you're too lazy to cancel it,
Yeah.
and they make it difficult to cancel. Like for example, when you come out of Amazon Prime, even though the free trial was ended, and it's like, and it says stuff like, no, I don't want super happy special super deals that are offered on that are on offer to me as an Amazon Prime customer. Instead, I want this shit like all the other mortals. And you're like, well, no, I just want to not spend £7 on or like £10-15, whatever it is.
Although that's being said, I do now have Amazon Prime.
Yeah, but I mean, but would you? Well, and the other, I mean, I don't know, because it depends on the quality of the service and whether or not you want it. But originally, you didn't want it.
But now they have extra stuff to give you, like they got the TV, like it's like their own Netflix
For free.
Not for
Oh
free.
yeah, no,
Amazon
of course,
Prime,
yeah.
And now also when I order stuff, I get it the next day. So if I order something even now,
I just ordered stuff today and I didn't get it.
Yeah,
but then again, I mean, but that relies on your impatience.
Yeah.
It doesn't rely on, and like for example,
But the thing I've chose to have it.
Yeah, well, that's it. You've chosen it, but I haven't.
Yeah.
I've chosen not to, mostly because the missus gave me a password, and now I can get it for free anyway. So fuck it. Okay, so next question. Do you ever worry what you sound like to others?
What do you mean, like?
As in, like, okay, so in my own head, I can hear one voice, and when we do these recordings, it sounds different to how I sound because it's slightly less hum. And it's kind of weird that I will never hear an original version of my own voice. In the same way that, for example, I will never know what sex feels like as a woman.
There's surgery.
Yeah, we'll go from one to the other. Because you're still not going to feel like,
Yeah.
because you're never going to know what those,
Yeah.
unless you, I don't know, I guess maybe in the future, but like everything's in the future.
But so repeat that again.
So where is it? What do you actually sound like versus what you think you sound like? Because I know that I'm.
So you're saying, are you saying like recordings, for example, what we're doing now is not an accurate?
It is, but if we recorded this 30 years ago, it would sound different as well.
What, based on technology or based?
Based on technology, but also based on
us
the
not
fact
being
that
born.
just based on the fact that your brain hears stuff differently when you're saying it because your mouth is there.
Yeah.
So like I'm never going to know what I sound like to my girlfriend, and she's never going to know what she sounds like to me.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know why I worry about that, but it's
not something I ever really worry about. I remember when I first started recording, I didn't like the sound of my voice. But after a while, you get used to it.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of the reasons I don't listen to them in full half the time because I'm just embarrassing. Okay, right, next one. Okay, so we're both at a stage in life where our girlfriends are starting to think about babies for us. Sorry, fiancés. And, like the topic of having a child in the next 5 to 10 years is coming up.
Yeah.
And that's something that obviously I didn't really experience for a few years in between Indonesian culture where they have that kind of lot more early on. I think in Indonesia and Asian cultures in general, there's a greater drive to have kids sooner rather than later. Like, 22 years old with 3 kids is normal. 27 years old, you're a spinster if you don't have a husband.
Yeah.
And people, as soon as I had a girlfriend, were like, "Oh, when are you going to get married?" I'm not. For like 10 years, maybe. I don't know. I still don't really know her middle name off by heart straight away. But my point, this question is more, it's about kids. Like, I want to know do you think that your kid will be your idea of cool?
What do you mean?
Okay, so I imagine having a kid, and I imagine like sort of, like taking him out on my motorbike when the missus isn't looking, or them enjoying similar things to me. But I know that the reality of it
might be completely different.
Yeah, and because they're a completely different person to me, and also it depends on their impression of me as to whether or not we get to do fun stuff together. Like, I know that my dad, for example, probably had those images about me quite a lot, and I feel that that's actually quite sad in a way, because there's me coming out there being like, as a teenager, like, oh, fuck everyone. But that's not what he envisaged. And he envisaged me being a cricket player, because when I was little, my dad came in with this cricket bat. Like, I'd just been born, and Dad runs off, comes back in with a crate of champagne, gets everyone on the ward shit-faced, and screams the words, "The Steed line continues," which is adorable. Which, that was the first thing I heard my dad say, which is a bit of pressure to start with. And it's like, well, I was in the ITU. Anyway, so he runs back home. He gets this. He goes into his tool shed, and he comes out with this teeny tiny little brown cricket bat. Yeah. And he comes up to me, puts it in my hand, and goes, "See, it's happening." It'll happen soon. But I never turned out to be a crickety type of person. So
never was into it.
A bit, but I find any sort of... I like sports, but I find that I just kind of found it quite intimidating, because we've got... because we play it in the garden, and I wouldn't be able to hit it that far because of the garden. But we've got the cricket field that's just down the way, and I always thought that's where the adults play. Yeah. But then as I've grown up being like, oh, that's a little bit of a big thing for big people. Yeah. And to be honest with you, they throw that ball really hard at each other, and I'm just like, I think I just get scared.
Yeah, that ball could kill you.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not taking a ball to the head for fun. I don't want to get hurt. Like, it'd be ridiculous. I'm just gonna steal all their sandwiches. Which is what we used to do, which was great.
The thing is, though, you never know how your kid's gonna turn out anyway. Like, you don't know. You might not get along with your kid. You and your kid might have nothing in common. So weird. Yeah, you never know.
And then, is that your fault, or is that just biological, or what is that?
Because who knows? Like, it could be like genetic. Could be anything really. You don't know.
Mother.
Yeah. There's two sets of DNA coming together. You don't know what you're gonna get.
Scary, isn't it? Yeah. But I can't imagine, because you've got to love them unconditionally either way. So no matter what happens, I guess. I mean, obviously, I know that your dad left when you were young, but like, you still kind of, like, in my opinion, or at least the way that I figured it would go, is that you love them unconditionally, not like a cat, but like, you kind of you have a bit of responsibility there, and I think that no matter who you are or no matter what happens, they are still part of your life, no matter whether you like it or not. But like, like, at what point I can't imagine, like, just admitting to yourself that you don't like your own kid. It's like, he actually is a shit.
Complete twat.
Yeah, it's like he's been arrested like 14 times, and it's not my fault. I genuinely don't know. Like, it's like, who gets arrested for that? Like, why? Or like Gary Glitter's family, for example. Yeah. I can't imagine they're particularly proud of him, but someone's got to love him unconditionally. Yeah. And it's also stuff like Guy Fawkes. So in the beginning of V for Vendetta, it shows the execution of Guy Fawkes. Yeah. And in the crowd, there's this woman crying, and because she loves him. And that has been one of the biggest cinematic things for me in my head, because it really got me thinking about, like, even the people who are being executed for heinous crimes are still loved by somebody.
Some people, I guess, yeah.
Well, yeah, but
some people don't.
Yeah, I don't know. But then again, I feel sorry for those people. Yeah. Because, imagine spending your whole life and nobody loves you. It's like, and I bet because no one loves you, they don't take the time to tell you why you're an asshole. Okay, nobody likes you because you keep killing their cats. Yeah.
So are you asking, is there ever a point that you could get where, like, you completely hate your kids, sort of?
Yeah, like, or where you just realise that you don't like them. Yeah. I would say hate. Hate's too strong. Yeah. Hate and love are a bit intertwined, but like that simple acceptance to the fact that
I think you can dislike somebody but still love them.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, you can dislike your kid, but like, you
But
still
like,
love them.
if you stop loving them, because like, I know that's unthinkable, but then that's weird because it's unthinkable. Anyway, right. Well, that's a bit too. That got deep in their own question. All right, here's one. A bit lighter. How do you apologise to an animal?
Do I look like the type of person that apologizes to animals?
I don't know what that kind of person would look like. To me, you look like the kind of person who probably would. I mean, if you kicked a dog,
I'm not gonna say sorry to a dog.
Well, I don't know, because I mean, I stepped on my dog's foot the other day because I work nights sometimes. So walk in there, walked past the dog, and it was in dark because then when we came up, I accidentally woke the whole house up because I stepped on the dog's foot. And I was trying to apologise, but I don't know, like, how do they know if you're sorry? Because I'm like, no, I'm sorry. Fed him loads of treats because I'm not a dick. But
What did your dog do?
nothing. It just sort of sat there, looked at me like, dude, the fuck? That's how I interpreted it. But she was looking at me like...
Why didn't you just continue going about your business?
Because she was hurt. I hurt my dog. I stepped on her foot. She yelped. And then everyone's got the lights on. It's horrible. But how do you say sorry to a dog?
You don't.
But like, I don't want her to dislike me.
You didn't do it on purpose.
Well, yeah, but how would you convey that either?
Just go.
You can't just shrug at a dog. The dog doesn't understand shrugging. Like, you know, like it's...
Dog doesn't understand your apology.
Well, yeah, the dog's like crying in the corner, man. I mean, like, you know, like, I mean, I don't like hurting things.
Yeah.
Like, you have to sit in there, it's like, I'm so sorry. Like, you know,
your dog feels the pain. You don't know what the words you're coming out your mouth are.
Yeah, but that's the problem because they know what. But they're intelligent enough to know what sit means.
Yeah.
You know, so they understand a bit, but like, you know, like, sorry isn't one that you really teach them as a puppy, is it? You know, sorry, like, yeah, the application of an apology in this situation means that I have no longer got any bad feelings towards you, good sir.
Don't know what to tell you.
It just bothers me. It just does. Okay, so next one. When do you think that you've accidentally or unwittingly been the closest to death? So if, for example, you have cancer, you know that you're kind of close to death at that point. Generally accepted that it's not in the sort of like, shouldn't wink, you should edit the wink out. Yeah, like it's it does occur to me that there will be times, for example, when a screw a screw could come loose and I could die. Or something simple like that. But like, I wonder how many times like, you know, a pebble has missed me that I haven't seen, and if it hit me just like, if it had been an inch close to my head, then I'd be dead.
Have you been close? Have there been times that you've been actually close to death?
Like on the way here?
Just in general?
Oh yeah, definitely.
In life?
Oh, 100%, yeah, absolutely. I mean, the risks that we used to take on the roads in Indonesia, for example, I literally came from about the same distance between me and you to an oncoming vehicle and the other guy, and there was two lorries coming this way and we're on a mountain road, and I nearly got sandwiched. And out there, you're dead.
Yeah. You
know, like your jungle roads, you're dead. And obviously, you know, I mean, I ride reasonably carefully, but it's never the rider, it's always the other person. So today I've been riding around a little bit. I've done about 3 hours on the road today.
Yeah.
And about 2 people have kind of almost swept me. Some asshole came out of a T-junction and I had to swerve around him. And like, you know, and there have been multiple times, but you take it in your stride because you have to. It's part of the parcel of being a biker. And it's also one of the reasons why I backseat drive like crazy when my girlfriend's driving, because I'm really hyper aware of all of these dangers. I'm like a little rabbit in the front seat. She hates it because it sounds like I'm backseat driving, but actually I'm just trying to save her life. But I think that obviously it's a bit of a redundant question because you can't know about stuff you don't know about.
Yeah.
But equally, I reckon there's going to be at least like 3 times when, like, for example, if I'd taken an extra step, I'd have fallen in a well, or well, not a well.
Well, they say that sometime in life where if you like if you've caught that bus or if you caught that train, you could have died. There's multiple occasions in life, I think, where
people didn't get on the 777.
If you're 5 minutes earlier or 5 minutes later, if you went into work that day, you could have been hit by a car.
Yeah, that's why I always take solace in being 5 minutes late to work. Like, hey, could have died. Especially on the bike again, like,
or because of that 5 minutes he died, you don't know. There's multiple, or if you like, there's multiple occasions that of only you were 5 minutes late.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then-
Only you slept in 5 minutes.
Yeah, and it's the one occasion when, and you're like, yeah, bollocks it is. Bollocks it is. The one occasion I was late, I didn't go to the World Trade Center at that time.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, really? Was that the one occasion you were late?
There's multiple occasions where you probably could have died if you was a little bit early, a little bit late, a little bit slower, a little bit faster. It's like, yeah, multiple occasions in life.
Well, fair enough.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think sticking with the philosophy thing, next one on the list, we are smashing these out, aren't we? High five. You don't like this, do you? Compared to the normal. Tough shit. Do you want to read one?
No.
Okay, next one. Is the concept of karma and forgiveness just a ruse set up by arseholes to make the rest of us not only let them get away with it, but also feeling a bit smug about it ourselves for being the bigger man, when actually we just look like idiots, and we're like, so for example, the whole turn the other cheek thing, I know that like if you stop turning the other cheek and you say actually no, and then beat the shit out of the person, obviously violence is the only true power. That's why, I mean, like, well, among other things, but violence really is the ultimate power, power of life and death. So do you think that karma, or like, like if someone, for example, if someone slapped you in the face and you're like, you know what, I could kill you, but I won't, because karma will get you anyway.
I'm not sure how much I believe in karma anymore. I used to believe that, especially for me, I used to believe that I'm going to pay for everything bad that I've done in my life. So I kind of
that's
like,
a lot of pressure.
Yeah, so I sort of like,
I mean, I was at uni with you, mate. That's a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
Don't do that to yourself.
Yeah, so there's times I'm like, yeah, I've done this, and I'm like, I know I'm gonna have to pay for this at some point in my life. But I just like, recently I've been watching a lot of interviews with on Vlad TV. About he interviews the Mob recently. No, he's a kind of a hip hop like YouTube channel, but now he's started interviewing people from the mafia, like people that kind of snitched and kind of got
I bet they're not on camera. I bet there's a lot of shadows in that one.
No, they're on camera.
They're on camera.
Yeah.
How did he find them if the Mob didn't?
I don't know, but anyway, yeah, they got like immunity for certain things, like informing and all that. And so he's talking to one recently that's killed a bunch of people. He's just there talking like, yeah, I killed this person, I killed that person. He's talked to a few other people that's got an immunity for like killing 6 people.
That's like a real kick in the teeth for those 6 people.
And and I'm just thinking like, they're karma.
Yeah, exactly.
People walking around like
that's ridiculous. Yeah. And then they're perfectly happy to go around. But I can't get my head around that. And also like,
and there's people out there in the world that's probably killed multiple people. And it's like,
and that's just one of those things. And also, if you're a soldier, to kill somebody is okay. But if you're a citizen who's killing somebody in the exact same circumstance, but you haven't been given a gun, then that's not okay.
Yeah.
And I don't understand why I understand that there would be a difference if, but like in terms of sort of thou shalt not kill, it's still killing somebody.
Yeah.
So no matter which way you kind of frame it, and the fact that we have to frame it multiple ways, you're still committing the ultimate sin. You're still killing somebody.
Yeah. I think there's people out there that just don't get what's coming to them.
It's just, I can't, Donald Trump.
Yeah.
I'm going to be an asshole my entire life, and now he's the president of the United States and doing a great job. Is he? Fuck. Okay. What's the most British thing you've ever done?
British thing? I don't know.
At the point where you're like, oh, fuck, I am English.
Cup of tea, I don't know.
Okay. What else we got? Is it more socially acceptable to kiss a baby on the lips or a dog?
I think, sadly, I think it's probably more socially acceptable to kiss a dog on the, dog on the lips. I think.
What if it's your baby? And not like full on Frenchy, as in like. Mwah.
Yeah, that's different. Kissing your baby on the lips different. But I mean, like, if it was just like kiss a dog. I think it's probably more socially acceptable than to go, if I saw a baby in the park or something, oh, that's a cute baby, and kiss it on the lips. That'd probably be because
you'd be in jail within about 20 minutes. Like, that's a 999 call right there when you put it that way.
It'd be like
but if it's your nephew,
what's
a little bit of.
I think that's weird, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you wouldn't do it, but that's the point. You'd never think about it.
Yeah.
I know that I was with a friend of mine, and she was holding her niece, and the niece started crying. It was a teeny tiny baby, and this is the weirdest thing I've ever seen anybody do. She licked the tear off the baby.
That's weird.
It was weird.
Yeah.
It's not just me being like...
that's weird.
I'm not shaming anybody here, trying to
weird.
embarrass anybody, but It was weird.
It's weird.
It's not just me.
Yeah, it's very weird.
But then
There's no reason for anybody to lick a tail of a baby.
yeah, I can't get my head around it still. I mean, we're still
Weird.
very, very good friends, but
You should cut her off.
I'm not going to cut anything off. I'm not cutting anything off. I'm perfectly... I don't have enough people that I can cut anyone off.
Cut her off.
I don't have enough friends. Like,
I would have cut her off by now. Like, and that's the last I ever spoke to that person.
Yeah, no, it's like...
That's the story I'll be telling.
They just look up like, we can't be friends anymore, can we? No, we can't.
If you ever lick a baby in my presence, I'll be like, Les, you know what's going to happen
Yeah,
next.
I mean, Ryan Reynolds, he...
I've already changed my number on you.
but like, yeah, it's like, can I just borrow your phone? Just delete chat history, Facebook next. Okay, so